People enjoy it. I'm sure they'll join you.
You were 7.
I
did 56. I did 56.
I feel bad. I didn't
And I was only 42 minutes. But I'm on Texas and call my Colorado. They retired 6 years ago. And so I said, in the season last year, all these regular to get a franchise. And they're like, oh, staff is washed up. We did it all. It's no guarantee. But guess what? They don't want it. And when about it in the NFL, you get to the top with a good quarterback. You use that shit. And there's too many skill franchises. Draft, be a trick. That's it. You get the number one guy. 2 years ago, the Bengals were the worst. Joe Burrow, 2 years ago, listen, he could be MVP next year. Josh Allen, I mean, that's loaded. They have 9 quarterbacks out of 6. The AFC is it is. That's where all the talent is. The NFC has a few, but not like this. Rose, usually I
No, I know. It's a different.
yeah, I'm not. Well, next year is a big break. It's his 4th year. It's the year that he gets to take contract. I mean, they've improved every year. They started out the second half of the season. See what they're signed up. Aaron Rodgers. And then if they do, you're going to see that.
FaceTime?
Yeah, already out. 16 people already out.
I saw a commercial yesterday. 72 sold.
Who knows how to whistle? You can whistle.
72 sold.
Who's whistling?
A lot, I think. A lot.
I did. He said, you know what he goes,
I'm not a whistler. I am not a whistler.
you need reader.
Yeah, reader.
The dude can whistle.
Let me just wait for those people out there to get their breakfast and get started. Happy 3rd Tuesday of the month. You guys can hear me just fine, right?
Yeah. Still use the mic,
Yeah, we
please.
can-
Danny, go ahead and still use it.
I still have to use the mic.
Yeah, it's all right.
All right, well, welcome everybody. It's the 3rd Tuesday. It's February. Happy day after Valentine's Day. Happy Arizona Statehood Day. Anybody know how old the state of Arizona was yesterday? 110. Very good. And Eddie Paris is going to be 110 later this week too. I don't have my list in front of me, but so you'll forgive me. Is there anybody that has joined our company since our last gathering? Would you mind standing up, including our business partners? If you have not been here before, please stand up and introduce yourself, because I don't have the list, Jeannie, and I'm sorry. So please tell us.
I'm Jeannie Staron with Valley Building Inspections. We're a full-service property inspection company serving the entire valley. We do property, in-house termite inspections, pool spas, environmentals, as well as sewer scopes. We've been doing sewer scopes for about 4 years now. That seems to be a really growing need here in the valley. We also specialize in new construction. So we do phased inspections throughout the construction of the home, which is super important now, particularly just because there's such a short inventory of resale homes. More and more of the clients are looking to new construction as a way to get into the market, and they really need your guidance. Because the builder does not have their best interest at heart. So if we can help partner with you to support you and your clients, and to see our clients, thank you so much.
Thank you, and welcome to Remax Fine Properties. Brenna, stand up so everybody can see you. Has everybody met Brenna Rule? So Brenna is our new front office along with Serena. Started a couple weeks ago. As everybody knows, Ronnie has gone on to bigger and better things in her life, and Brenna is now with us. So everybody meet Brenna, be nice to her, because she controls all of your phone calls, your mail, and your paychecks. So, welcome aboard, Brenna. In no particular order. In no particular order. Guys, we have an amazing surprise coming your way. We have a new hire coming. Maybe she'll be here today. I'm not sure. We hired a brand new position in this company called an agent ambassador. I think we've been talking about it a little bit. And this person, her whole job is to show love to the agents. That's the job description. Think of it as an agent concierge, agent ambassador, agent liaison. That's the sole purpose of this person. Do you guys remember Beth Jones? Bethany, who used to run our front desk. Beth is coming back to Remax Fine Properties. It's an amazing, amazing person. For those that know her, know what I'm talking about. And for those that didn't met her, you're gonna love Beth. So she said she's gonna try to make it here today. We're not sure, but look out for her in the next week or so. An amazing, amazing hire. So, and that was all due to Jamie. Yes, we're very excited. Let's see, next. R4, who's going R4? Terrific. So you'll hear about it more and more, but you'll get your agenda from Remax itself. We do our agent appreciation dinner. It'll be on Monday night. It's at 8 o'clock. It'll be the steakhouse at the MGM. You'll hear more about it. For those that have attended in the past, we'll find you. Okay, just know that Monday at 8 o'clock, make yourself available. Wednesday mornings, 9 o'clock, what happens?
Bagel with broker.
And Jay, tell us what happened to you last Wednesday at 9 o'clock.
We received some glorious bagels with cream cheese for our meeting for Bagel with the Broker.
You show up for Bagels with the Broker on Wednesday, 9 o'clock, you never know who will be knocking at your door with a half a dozen or a dozen bagels delivered to you. So,
Thank you.
and business development, of course, on Thursdays at 10 o'clock. Guys, he does just amazing classes. Bob Dirks with his training on Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, whether it's Peoria, Scottsdale, or Flagstaff, or in person or private. There's ongoing classes for all of us, so please take advantage of all those programs. Let's see, what's next on my agenda? March, some important dates. So March, our next meeting, which is normally the third Tuesday of March, will be March 15th. There is no meeting, but we will be in this room for lunch. It's our annual awards luncheon. Again, for those that have been here for several years, it's an amazing, amazing event. And this year will be no different. We have more awards and more announcements to make, I guess, than ever before. So you'll hear more about it in the next couple of weeks, but it's March 15th, no office meeting, but we'll be in this room for lunch. March 15th. What am I missing? All right, I'm going to give you 5 minutes of my spiel today, and then we'll introduce our speaker. In the last 3 months, I get more phone calls on the same thing. And I say the same thing over and over and over. And I know you guys get it, but until you experience it, you get your listing and you get a cash transaction, and you take the They want to do financing. What do I do? That's the phone call. You have received a cash transaction, and now the buyer wants to change it, and they send you an addendum. And And the addendum says that they will waive the appraisal contingency, they will waive the loan contingency, they'll make their money non-refundable. I'm suggesting, don't have your seller sign that addendum. Now, at the end of the day, the seller gets to make the decision, right? Not us. The seller gets to make the decision. But it's my position that you've accepted the offer because it was cash. Cash is king. It just beats financing every day of the week. Anybody disagree? The minute you sign that addendum, changing it from cash to financing, even with all the contingents being waived, you've just weakened your seller's position. That's the way I feel now. Now, I'm not always right, but I feel really strongly about this. You weaken your seller's position. The loan is running late. Well, it does make a difference. You can tell the buyer that, let me back up. You can't not let the buyer finance the house if they want to, but you don't have to make it a contract contingency or contract terms. If you want to go finance the house, seller or buyer, go finance the house. All we know is the seller, on closing date, you need to have the cash to close. And if the financing was in place, then everybody wins. And if financing is not in place, too bad, tough loogies, it doesn't work, you have to play with cash. Because that's how the deal was done. The minute you change the terms of the contract, in my opinion, you weaken the seller's position. So don't call me, because that's the answer you're going to get. Would anybody disagree on that?
Absolutely not. You stay in your position.
Yeah.
You don't move.
Yes.
What happens then if your seller doesn't sign it? Can they cure you then in a year now?
If the seller doesn't sign it,
Decided that the seller doesn't sign the agenda.
it's an addendum, they don't have to sign it. An addendum changes something that's already been agreed to, right?
So they can't cure you then, the buyer saying,
For what?
cure you because you didn't sign it.
Oh, no, of course not, because right, you have a contract, so that you have an agreement of terms. All an addendum does is change something that you've already agreed to, right? Yes, they can't cure you. They can't cure you. So the worst thing that will happen on a cash deal is that and by the way, if it's a cash deal, what I would also put into a contract is that the cash needs to be in escrow 3 days prior to closing. Because here's what happens if you don't do that. So now comes closing, and the buyer still wants to get his loan done, and they're running a few days late. He doesn't close, then you first have to cure him on closing date, and it gives the buyer 3 more days to maybe get his loan done. And that gets really technical, right? So, but it just gives the buyer less days. In other words, if you put a terms of a contract 3 days prior to closing that the cash needs to be in escrow and it's not there, then you cure him because the closing date doesn't change. But if you don't put that into the contract, on closing date, if the cash is not there, it does give the buyer 3 more days after closing. Yeah, Dean.
So a couple times that I've run into is they took our offer because we were cash, like, you know, there was a 30,000 more, 50,000 more that was financing, and they took ours because it was cash. That's a tough spot.
Right, and listen, and it works both ways. It works both ways, but you have to tell your buyer. Now, let's play the buyer's side, okay? If you're on the buyer's side and you send the addendum and the seller's willing to sign it, then good for us. But if the seller doesn't sign it, our buyer needs to know that this deal was done in cash, and they need to come in, they need to, get their financing done before closing date. So it works both ways, right? Yes.
I think working both ways. Let's flip this around. You're talking about from the perspective of being the seller. Say you're the buyer, and you want to make one of these transactions. You want to make your offer look as good as possible, and although you're a buyer, you're going to finance, you're going to tell the seller you're making the cash offer. Where it isn't going to be cash.
Well, that's not that proof of
It
funds.
could
Are there issues associated with doing that?
You make an offer that's cash, and
You're
then
making cash, but you're actually going to finance it.
as long as you come to closing with money on closing date, I don't think the seller cares where the money came from. But if you don't have the cash, if you really truly don't have, let me tell you what cash means. Cash means I can go into my pocket, I can buy this right now. I don't need to go to somebody else's pocket to get the money, right? That's what financing is. Hard money loan, guys, a hard money loan is nothing more than a loan. It's somebody else's, it's still a loan. But if you have the cash, if you have the ability, and then you want to finance it, there's nothing wrong with that. But you just have to come to closing date and money has to be in place.
Well, that's what I'm asking, if there is anything wrong. The first thought that I have is that you may open yourself to an allegation if you're not negotiating in good faith.
Or ethics.
Well, wait, did the
You
buyer,
actually have made an offer.
did the buyer really truly have the cash to close?
Oh, say no.
Well, then you didn't do our jobs right. You have to provide proof of funds, number one. If you're the agent writing an offer of cash and you know the buyer doesn't have the cash, you shouldn't be writing that offer. You're putting your buyer in a really bad spot.
Well, let's do plan B. Assume he does have the cash, but he intends to finance it all along.
Sure. And that's fine, you can do that. And if you're the buyer side, I'd still write an addendum. If the seller's willing to sign it, it's only better for our buyer.
You should just put it in the contract from the get-go. That's
You-
what we do.
you could do that too.
We put it in the contract, buyer reserves the right to finance this.
Yeah.
And you just put it in there and you don't have a discussion.
But here's the thing, right? Just play it out. If you put it in there, the seller doesn't have to accept that because it's a contract term.
They don't have to accept any contract you put forward, Sam.
I'm just saying, so, but if you know you're gonna do it, a seller can't stop you from financing it so long as you come to closing with
We have a
cash.
situation where the person wouldn't let the appraiser in.
Well, I was gonna get to that,
So
when
we
that
just
happens.
cancel the contract.
And that's the second biggest question I get when that happens. So now they wanna do an appraisal and the seller won't let them in because they're financing sellers pissed. It's a war out there, guys, you're all experiencing it.
We did, Don, in that situation, we had the home inspection and the appraiser there the same day. We didn't even say, we said our inspections are this
No, I'm
day.
just saying that we were gonna do the appraisal within the inspection period. The seller said, we're not letting them in, and we said, fine, we cancel. Lots of houses out there buying things. It doesn't look like it.
Anyway, just be aware of that, that's the single biggest issue, yes.
I have an incident where I represented the seller, and we had 20 offers. And the seller decided to go with the cash offer, quick close, because the actual seller, she was in assisted living. So I was dealing with 4 of the siblings. And anyway, we went with this cash offer for the buyer, but the buyer represented investors. And so the first investor backed out of the deal during this 10-day close. And so we had to go, he did come up with another investor, but I never had that happen. Where he went from one buyer to another buyer, but they were all investors.
It's out there, I know.
But it's just crazy that it's coming to the.
It's out there.
You know, that, yeah,
All right, let's lighten things up a little bit. Did anybody get the wordle of the day this morning? I was stunned.
I got it.
All right, just go ahead and throw it out there. All right, let's get on with this. Just kind of throw it out there. So, you guys know we have an amazing commercial division, right? It started about 3 years ago, and Jim Zizanek, along with Brett Nichols and Katie Maurer, have headed up our commercial division. We implore you, when you have a commercial deal, referral, anything, go call Jim, because Jim can get you through this deal. Jim will get it done for you, whether it's a sale, leasing, buildings, space, it makes no difference. So Jim has been gracious enough to bring us an amazing speaker today. You're gonna love Mike. And I'm gonna ask Jim if he would introduce our guest speaker tonight.
Great speaker today, a guy named Mike Schwab from Arizona Land Advisors. Well, used to be Arizona Land Advisors, it's called Land Advisors now. They have about 27 offices. I think they did, what did you do, 4.6 billion in sales with 54 agents. So they're in California, Texas, California, Washington, Utah, other areas, but they all started here back in 1989 with Mike Schwab and Greg Vogel. And most of the land transactions that have occurred in Maricopa County were Nathan and Associates, who were land advisors, but who? I know. Anyway, Mike's the managing broker there for the Arizona office, but it's involved in Washington. Probably knows every major home builder, has probably transacted with every major home builder Actually, I've worked on a transaction with you a couple times. I actually kind of hit it and screwed you one down.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and it's amazing he's here. We actually went with a different buyer. So, but he's a member of the Home Builders Association, past in the Western America Coalition, past president, board member of the Han Kachina Council, trustee with St. Luke's Health Initiatives. While hailing from Minnesota and a Vikings fan, he has a BS from ASU. So,
Thanks, Jim. Great to be here. Kind introduction. I'm going to fire off some questions throughout the program here and there. This is really data centric. So if you over there want to move over here so you can see the screen, by all means do. If you don't, that's fine too. As Jim mentioned, Craig Vogel founded the firm in 1987. I joined in 1989. So I've been doing this land game for 32 years now. This last 18 months has been the craziest it's ever been. Similar to you, 2004, 5, and 6 was a great year for us on the land side as well. But this year has been just as insane as 5 and then beyond. Here's where our offices are located. We call this the geographic smile. We start up in Washington, come down through California, Salt Lake, Boise, Arizona. We got 3 in Texas, and we just started opening a bunch of offices in the Southeast. And this basically follows the population trends and the demographic shifts. You'll see some slides on this in a bit. We also have a capital. We're not, we don't source it. We don't broker it, we source it. So we just introduced equity, debt, block banking, etc. to our clients. Launch Development Finance is an infrastructure financing vehicle. I don't know if you're all familiar with community facilities districts. If you're selling homes in master plan communities, it typically shows up on your tax bill. It's a mechanism for builders and developers to pay for infrastructure. Roads, curb gutter, anything used by the public, park, bridges, washers, etc. Before I jump into the kind of the meat of the presentation, does anybody know how many licensed real estate agents and brokers there are in the state of Arizona? As we sit and speak today. 91,000. Perfect. So 91,000. My guess is there's probably less than 1% specialize in land in the state of Arizona. I think, Jim, what did you say they did? 5? What was the Remax Fine Properties did how much? 2.6 billion. The market for Armless was about 52 billion. So this group and your peers did about over 5% of the market, which is pretty impressive. Very impressive. On the land side, the market was about 8 billion. We did locally here in Scottsdale office about $1.6 billion. So it's again, we did that with 14 agents. So it's pretty amazing what's happening. This is why we're all here and why our industry continues to thrive. We're sitting on 5 million people in Phoenix MSA right now. Decade by decade, we grow by 1 million people, somewhere between 850,000 and 1,200,000 people. This is like clockwork. It just happens. When I moved here in 1982 to go to ASU, there was 1,400,000 people. And our growth is phenomenal. For the longest time, our growth was our market. The market relied upon growth, just people moving in and construction. We become way more diversified since I first got here back in 1982. The more exciting part is moving forward. There's another 2 million people that are going to come here over the next 20 years. Again, roughly 1 million people per decade. Even in the recession we had recently, 2008 through say 2015, 2014, in that decade, 2010 to 2020, we still grew by 860,000 people. So this is our lifeblood. This is what keeps new buyers coming. This is what keeps cycling our housing inventory. This is a graphic that describes who the people are that are coming, and how this trend is. What the concerning part on the bottom of this graph, the blue, is births over deaths. we're dropping like a rock. You know, millennials, Gen X, Gen Z, whatever you want to call them, they're just not having babies. I'm the youngest of 7 kids. That's super rare, as we all know in this day and age. The gray bar is net immigration. So that's the U-Haul factor. That's, you know, the U-Haul's leaving, the U-Haul is coming into Arizona. And again, you can see wild trends in terms of how our population fluctuated and then the recession from 2008 through about 2015. This is from 2020, the new stat for 2021 will come out. We're likely going to be 1 or 2 again. And you can see how these markets kind of mirror our office locations. We made a conscious decision to locate in growth markets back when we started our expansion in 1998. Employment, I show you this not to bore you to death, but just to show you that we recovered from the recession, 08 through 2010, and all the jobs we lost, we've more than recovered. And then we had the blip, this little thing called the pandemic, scared the heck out of all of us. Turned out to be a godsend for our businesses. Who knew? I mean, it's kind of crazy when you think about it, what happened, but we've more than recovered the jobs we lost in 2020 when the pandemic first started. Moody's is projecting about 68,000 job growth in 2022. Just real quick, healthcare, manufacturing, government. Those are the 3 sectors that continue to grow on the employment side. Construction is actually shrinking, which is mind-numbing, but it's as a percentage it's shrinking of our employment makeup. You guys are probably familiar with the Cromford Report. It takes data right out of MLS. It's amazing how our world is intertwined. The interactions I have, this is the presentation I give to the home builder client. And you're going to see a lot of resale inventory or resale data coming up. But the month supply, excluding under contract and backup, is less than a month. It's 16 days or something ridiculous right now. If you go back 2 years, it was almost 2 months. If you go back 4 years, it was all 3 to 4 months. So just, you know this equation better than anybody. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there from a demand supply perspective. You get a listing, you're going to have multiple offers. It's amazing, you know, what's happened, and then the appreciation that's happening. We'll see some slides that dig into that. Here again is another slide just noting that trend. Back in 2015, you know, we're looking at a 3-month supply of MLS inventory. Now we're, you know, about a half a month, 2/3 of a month. And then you know, this $400,000 less product in my world on the home builder side, slim to none. In your world, very similar situation. This is actually, it's graphs off a little bit. MLS reported appreciation in the Phoenix MSA of 28% for 2021. Staggering numbers when you compare it with all the other markets around the country. Phenomenal. This chart shows $240 billion in homeowner equity that's been created 2017 through 2020. There's probably another $50 billion that was created just in 2021, 40 to 50 billion in homeowner equity. I just looked at the January ARMLA stats, 733 homes in foreclosure, which is kind of amazing to think about. How did these people get themselves into a situation where they're in foreclosure because their homes are appreciating in value? So it's just, again, an anomaly. This has created phenomenal effect equity for move up. The problem is finding inventory, as you guys well know. Median resale home price, this is 2021, $427,000 was the median price. Half the homes you guys sold were more than this, half or less than this. And you'll see in a bit how it corresponds to the home builder world. Median family income has been going up. It's now near 80,000, 63,000 or 69,000 3 years ago. So the median income can afford a little bit more than the median price home. Again, interest rates are going to start creeping up. The Fed's promising 3 rate hikes this year. Hopefully it's only 3. There's a lot of noise out there suggesting maybe they get more aggressive kind of tamp down this inflation that we're experiencing in all sectors. This is basically, this graphic shows, we're still a relatively attainable market compared to most of the MSAs around the country. $69,000 in income qualifies you for that median home price, that $427,000 home. By the way, this will be distributed to all you. Okay, Andy's got it on his computer, so you guys will get all this in the next coming days. This is an interesting graphic, and I don't know if you're necessarily aware of this, but 84% of the market on resale homes are 350 and above. 73% are in that sweet spot from 350 to 750. 73% of the homes sold in Phoenix MSA are 350,000 to 750,000. So that is the sweet spot. I know we're up here in North Scottsdale, and we like that little 11% on the other side. It's an interesting dynamic, and you're going to see this relative to the home building world in a bit. All right, there's a whole bunch going on in this graphic. This is where I'm going to transition over to the home builder side of the equation. So the blue line is the median price for new homes. The gold line and green line is the median price for resale home. There's an error on this graphic, but the bottom line is for the first time since 2005, when it was very tight, the median resale home price is greater than the new home build median price. It happened, it was a blip in 2005. Just for perspective, in 2005, we permitted new homes, 65,000 new homes. This year we did about 24,000. We troughed in 2010 at about 5,000 homes. So this market is cyclical. This graph shows that. We've never had the gap between the number of new homes sold, 24,000, versus the number of resales, 104,000. So we're in this peculiar time in the market. But, yep.
Just a quick question. Do you think that a lot of that is because of the supplies that I keep hearing from builders, they can't find the supplies to build the homes?
Yeah.
Do you feel that that's in relation to why this is?
No doubt. We're going to see some slides a bit later
Okay.
that focus on the
Sorry.
home builder side. No, perfect.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you think this is just a locational issue?
What do you mean by location issue?
Well, I mean, if you go further out.
Sure, which is where most of the new build
Right.
inventory is.
Right. And so your median home value is on the resale side is greater when it's closer in
Yeah.
than it is when you're further out, correct?
That's probably part of it.
Yeah.
The rapid appreciation you experienced over the last 2 years is the other part. The builders have experienced similar appreciation in their inventory. There is a supply issue on the builder side, which we'll touch on in a bit. The one advantage the new home has is you get more home bang for the buck. But to your point, it's what we call in the industry drive to qualify. And you're going to see this in some graphics a bit later in the presentation. This is the permit graph. The dark blue is single family, the light blue is multifamily. And you can see we talked about the 65,000 new home permits in 2005. What happened in 2006 and 7 and 8? The market just crashed. And instead of selling to the home builders, I was representing the banks who took property back from the home builders. And so we still survived during that 2008 through 2014, 15, 16 time frame. This just gives you a historical perspective. It also sheds light on the fact that Phoenix is a wildly cyclical market. Everybody's making a bunch of money right now, selling homes, whether it's resale, new homes. I'm selling industrial land, multifamily, we'll see that in a bit. Save your pennies. There's going to be some adjustment. Nobody knows when it's going to come. Save your pennies, because this is an anomaly. we've still got 2 years left. So, who's with me? 2 years? Okay, perfect. So we did 31,000 permits in the Phoenix MSA in 2021. We're projected to do about 37,000. If we didn't have supply constraints, if we didn't have labor constraints, we would probably permits to your home. And then also there's another factor. It's hard to imagine, but again, you'll see it in future slides here, is there is a shrinking supply of land that is relatively close to downtown or urban areas that folks want to be in. The other trend is the shift to the West Valley. This is single-family permits by region. You can just say the West Valley back in 2010 was 38%, now it's 48%. That's going to continue to grow. And you'll see a couple of maps in a bit that explain why. This is the best-selling master plan communities in the Phoenix MSA. And this is downtown. This is downtown right here, just for perspective. Interestingly, Drive to Qualify. The best-selling master plan community in the West Valley is in Tartesso. Does anybody know where Tartesso is?
Yes.
It's far west Buckeye. So as you're driving on I-10 to go to San Diego and you turn south on 85 to get down through Gila Bend, you're still not there. You drive another 11 miles. You drive about 6 miles to the west and then 2 miles to the north. What's driving that though? What's driving that is affordability and the drive to qualify factor. These people are getting crushed because of the demand-supply imbalance on the resale side. They want a house, they want a backyard for their dog and kids, and in Tartesso, you can buy a house from $382 to $424. That's your base price. Add typically on the new home site, add about 20-25% for upgrades. That's your cabinets, your flooring, etc., and then lot premiums. On the East Valley, the #1 selling planned community, there's not many in the East Valley, but it's East Market. Huge project in Mesa, south of State Route 60, just west of the 202. And you can see their pricing is $364 to $960. They have density in East Market. They have creative, I don't know if you guys are Cooley Station, Fulton Homes does it, but a typical subdivision has 3.5, 4 homes per acre. Typically 55, 60 wide lot. There's cool new product out there that's more dense. It's on 5, 60 per acre. Typically multi-story, sometimes 3, more like a townhome. But they're detached. It's detached product, so it's still classified as single family. Top 40 bills. I thought about pulling this slide out, but right now these folks aren't necessarily the most cooperative. This is the top 40 home builders in the Phoenix MSA. The top 40 control almost 90% of the market. The top 10 control 60% of the market. But these are the folks that when the cycle turns, they're going to be your friends again. But right now, they're not necessarily your friends.
They are not.
They do not need you right now. They know they don't need you, and they take advantage of that. But they will be your friends in the future. No doubt, because again, Phoenix is a cyclical market. And to the extent you have any in with these companies, or if you're familiar with their subdivisions and the submarkets that you guys cover, it's good to stay in touch with these folks, because they will be your friends when they need you. It's kind of a sad dynamic, but it is what it is. This just shows who's on the top end in terms of average price. Century Communities, they're primarily selling out in Western Surprise up off of Grand Avenue and the Loop 303, and a community called North Copper Canyon. And then you got Troll on the other end of the spectrum on the high end. The average price amongst the builder inventory is $465,000. And they did $10.5 billion in sales last year, with basically those 24,000 sales that they covered. This is really analogous to where the resale market is. again, about 82%, you guys are at 85 or 84% above 350. And then if you subtract out anything over 750, you're looking at about 75% of the meat of the market for the home builders is exactly the same as the meat of the market for you guys. It's in that 350 to 750 range, you know, all throughout the valley, all throughout the Phoenix MSA. All right, this is really interesting in my world. This is what gets the builders excited or gives them angst. So this is all of the active subdivisions. So you can bring your client, you can roll through the models, or you can go online, go through our website, and you can look at the inventory they have. There's 392 of these as we sit and speak today throughout the MSA. The red dots mean there's pretty strong absorption. They're selling 4 or 5 homes a month. The orange dots are somewhere in between, they're more like 2 or 3, and then the yellow dots are 1 to 2. So you can see this clustering of red dots is where the markets are hot. I mentioned Tartesso. Here's Tartesso, and then here's Eastland over here. And then, you know, you can see a lot of inventory up in North Scottsdale. Kind of where we are, North Phoenix, North Scottsdale. It's primarily one-offs. And we talked about density. There's some creative product out there where they're paying an arm and a leg for the dirt, but they're getting more density. The cities used to hate density. They used to hate 45 wide lots, 48 wide lots, 50s, 55s. They try to push 70s and 80s. But the cities all now recognize there's an affordability or an attainability factor. And so they've all done a 180. And we're repurposing or zoning a bunch of old PAD zonings from years ago, where we had 70 and 80 wide lots, and they're willingly giving us 45s, 48s, 50 wide lots. Typical lot in our world, again, production lot is probably a 60 by 120. That sound about right? Well, again, you're up here in North Scottsdale, so it's probably a little lower. This is what makes land brokers really happy. 392 active subdivisions, 248 are going to build out in the next 12 months, based on the last 12 months of absorption. This is the machine. These top 40 builders, top 10 builders that control 60% of the market. This is the machine that I have to continue to feed, and folks in my office have to continue to feed. Is we have to find replacement subdivisions for them. Let me just give you a lesson in land brokerage with a residential builder. It's fascinating. When you open an escrow on a resale, what do you have? Right now you probably have no contingency, but in a quasi-normal market you have say a 20 or 30 day inspection period, and then you close 10 or 15 days later or 5. I know it's much lower than that now. When I open an escrow with a home builder, it's an 18 to 24 month escrow. That home builder has to take that property cradle to grave. That home builder has to go submit an application and go through the public process with each municipality to get their zoning approved. Then they start spending money to formally plat and engineer the property. And that, in my world, takes, call it 15 to 24 months, depending on the jurisdiction. And by the way, all the jurisdictions are overwhelmed right now. So it's usually on the high end of that. So this, it's kind of interesting because it's one of the reasons I think it's a barrier to entry for more people getting into land brokerage. Because I was fortunate, my wife was an accountant, and it didn't matter that I didn't make any money for about 24 months when I first started in the land game. But a lot of people can't do that. So it's just an interesting dynamic when you compare the two spaces. This is multifamily. I'm going to start going into a couple different segments of the market, and then I'll wrap up. So multifamily absorption versus deliveries. So we had, the absorption is the gray bar, and absorptions basically were outpacing deliveries. We just flipped that. There was 191 multifamily closings in 2021 throughout the Phoenix MSA. That 191 closings represented about 35,000 units. We only got counts on 145, and we were missing counts on like roughly 50, so we're not sure, but it's 30 to 35,000 multifamily units that were approved and now in the hands of developers that are sprouting up all over the valley. We've seen the horizontal for rent product. The consumer loves it. I think it's uglier than all get out. As you drive by it, it looks like barracks. I guess give it time and hopefully, you know, the foliage will grow and look better. Have any of you walked that product? Have any of you gone into that product? It's like a new home. It's a model home. It's beautiful. You have a doggy door, your pet, you can go out and you have a little courtyard. That product that looks horrible when you drive in, but when you get there and you live in that space, that product gets a 20-25% rent premium over traditional garden parks. Nobody's above you, nobody's below you, unless you have a one bedroom, you don't even have a view. The way they build that, they put 2 1-bedrooms in a detached unit, and then your 2-bedroom, your 3-bedroom are detached. So it's multi-family product that essentially feels like single family. Again, you have a little courtyard for your pet, and it's really interesting. And then the traditional apartment is going gangbusters too, and then there's all kinds of hybrid products. Companies like DB Living, Next Metro, etc., are building hybrid multifamily for rent product that looks a lot like a condo or townhome as we traditionally think about.
And like they're coming with amenities, just like a regular community too.
Sure.
I've seen them with the pools, the playgrounds, all of it. They make it very appealing for renters.
And you talked about your concierge person. Each one of these communities now has concierge. You can call out, you can get tickets to the Suns game, you can get a dinner reservation, etc. So it's a whole different ballgame, and frankly, it's dramatically needed because we're growing so fast. We're just not building the housing supply that we need to build, which is why we're all in this, the spot we're in. You guys on the resale side, me on the new home build side. Here's occupancy and rent growth, and you can see, this situation where absorption outpaced deliveries, has resulted in 97% occupancy. This is across the board. This is Class A, Class B, Class C product in the entire Phoenix MSA, and similar to the appreciation of new homes and resale homes. We saw 17.8% appreciation in 2021 on rents, and we're going to hit probably 24% in this current year. Just from a land broker's perspective, this just still blows my mind. So 2 years ago, we were opening escrows with multifamily developers, and effectively, whether they were building 11 units per acre or 22, 11 would be the horizontal for rent, 22 would be traditional garden, they were contracting to pay 12 to 14, maybe 16,000 a door. Guess what that number is today? I'm opening escrows today, and they're paying 55 to about 75,000 a door. In the meantime, their cost to construct has gone way up. So this is why you see this rent appreciation, because they're getting hit on the land side, they're getting hit on the construction side. Interestingly though, the institutional buyer, once you build that community, once you rent it and stabilize it, that institutional buyer will purchase at a sub-3 cap. It's mind-boggling to me. So the best way to think of it is you might be into a unit for $250,000. You're going to sell it for $420,000. Multiply that over 200 units. It's a crazy business right now. This is my one slide on single-family rental rates, same phenomenon. I mean, part of the problem for folks, they don't want to sell their home because where they're going to go live, because it's hard to find a replacement property, and that again goes to the supply side of the equation. And then a similar phenomenon up here. Don't ask me, does anybody know what current yield means? This is partner slide, current yield, I have no idea what that means, but that might be yield on, I don't know, yield on if you rented your house? I don't know. Anyhow, 14.5% increase year over year in single family rental rates. It moved, you know, up to $1.17, it's gonna move up to $1.34. As we see. Now I'm gonna jump in, I'm almost done, but I'm gonna jump into industrial. I actually worked with Jim on an industrial property on the Loop 303. By the way, my area of specialty, so I'm kind of buying stuff on the west side, I kind of work west of I-17, north of I-10. There was a total of 1.9 billion in industrial sales. Modern day record, 22 million square feet net absorption in industrial. I was selling industrial 2 years ago along Loop 303, along I-10, west I-10, out in Mesa, out in Buckeye, $4 a square foot. I'm now selling industrial, same locations, $8 to $12 a square foot. If you want to buy industrial land in Los Angeles, you're paying $100 a foot. And you're getting over-regulated, which is why they're all coming here. If you want to buy industrial land in Vegas, you're paying $30, $40 a foot. Denver, you're paying $30, $40 a foot. So Phoenix has become this, it's just amazing. This has all happened in the last 3 years. Just mind-numbing to see. Even while we're absorbing 21.5 million feet, they're building 14, there's another 28 on the way. Vacancy rates are still ridiculously low. You know, we're looking at 96, 97% occupancy rates. And the total supply in the valley is 355 million square feet. And I'm not gonna go into that detail, buried to death. Anyhow, land transactions, total volume, 8 billion in land transactions. Forget about that home building transaction because it's wrong. Like I didn't fix it in time. Here's the breakdown between land sale by sector. The single family, the home builder, this is vacant land, this is partially improved lots, this is finished lots. Almost 4 billion. Multifamily was almost $1 billion. Industrial we talked about was 1.9 billion. Commercial, let's talk about commercial. Everything in your world, everything in my world, home builder, industrial, multifamily, appreciation. Commercial. 32 years ago, I would sell a commercial corner with Fry's or Safeway or Bash's as the anchor, $4 a foot. We just sold the Fry's in Surprise, $4 a foot. The pad space and inline space that wraps the grocery store, we were transacting between $8 and $15 a foot 32 years ago. We're now probably 15 to 25 bucks a foot. And obviously it's a sub-market by sub-market game. So as you get up in the higher demographic areas, that number is going to be on the high end. But it's just interesting, and it's probably a function of the fact that we all shop at Amazon. So, you know, the sticks and bricks buildings aren't there. Ag spec 701, again, 8 billion in total land sales. This is not a Rorschach test. This is fascinating. So this is going back to the 1950s. So the darker areas you see are all public lands. It's Indian Nation, BLM, Tonto National Forest, Regional Park, Lake Pleasant Regional Park, White Tanks. The white areas you see are state land. State land is held for the benefit of the State Educational Trust. It's close to $5 billion fund right now that the interest goes to every school across the state. As you're probably aware, the state land bleeds their land out very judiciously. They sold a lot in Desert Ridge, but they sold a big property down in Apache Junction, kind of east of Eastmark, and they sell random parcels, typically when they're surrounded, basically where it built out in the areas surrounding. Or they do what they did with the Taiwanese Semiconductor Manufacturing Company up on I-17 and the Loop 303. They sell to a job generator, income generator. There's an auction pending, in case you weren't aware, it's 3,500 acres up on Grand Avenue, about 200th Avenue, Burlington Northern is going to be building a large intermodal transport hub. So, bottom line, take away the black, dark lands and the white lands, which are public. About 22% of the Phoenix MSA is privately owned. And this Rorschach test, basically, if you look at the blue area in central Phoenix, that was what was built out before 1955. The green kind of expansion of that, 55 to 69, the yellow expansion 70 to 84, the orange 85 to 99. Thankfully, this is the last slide, by the way. And then red 2000 to 2020. And then where we project growth is going to head over the next 40 years. And this next 1.9 million people show up. And each one of these new homes that's built, I think that slide I had up earlier said about 679,000 new homes or multifamily units built in the future is going to land more than likely on these purple areas. Obviously, there's infill and gentrification, things like that, but this is where the builders are going to be looking into the future. So with that, I think that's it. And I'm here to answer any questions.
Do you know approximately how many acres are left in Scottsdale to fully come?
Slim to none. And what's left is low density. Generally speaking, again, municipalities are getting more friendly in terms of allowing more density or more creative product. So we don't know. I mean, I can figure it out. We have the software to do it. One of the reasons we expanded is because we have really cool spatial display data. And we formulated this technology way back in '98, and that's led to our 27 offices around the country.
Mike, I noticed on your absorption stuff for the new developments, some of them were the lighter color, but a lot of them were doing 5 lot sales a week, and now they've slowed it to 1 or 2 every 2 weeks.
They're doing that on purpose. Supply chain.
Yeah. So when do you have any indications, or what are they feeling that's going to start loosening up?
They don't know. I told the story earlier, and anecdotally, we had a builder in the office, and they're asking buyers to close without garage doors because they're stuck on a boat outside of Long Beach. And if you don't want to close, then you got a list 10 deep, they'll come close. So, you know, that's anecdotal, it's one builder. We've had probably 20 builders through the office since the beginning of the year. And everybody's grappling with supply chain. And it's stupid. It's things like little elbow joints on PVC pipe or, you know, your wires. It's just dumb things. And it stops their whole, you know, when the plumber can't show up, everything behind them gets backed up. So there's a huge supply chain crisis in the home builder world. It used to be, you'd walk in, you'd sign a contract, they'd build your house, you'd move in 6 months, 7 months later. Now, you walk in, you get on a list, they're building the house, their costs are unknown. Their costs are unknown on probably 30% of the components of their home. They get crews that may or may not show up, and that disrupts everything, and they got so it's, the home builder game now is, okay, when we're about 80-90% there, we'll reach out to our buyers, we're on our list, and we'll contract with them. And we'll more or less tell them, hey, you don't need a garage door. Yep.
Any state land coming to auction and big enough to build a planned community?
The piece in Apache Junction, east of East Mark, so
Oh, nice.
Brookfield Residential acquired that. That's a massive, I think it's 3,000 acres. And that's an anomaly. Normally the state land department, by example up here around Desert Ridge, will break out much smaller chunks of ground. They're trying to maximize value. Again, the state land fund is, I think it's 4.7 billion, 4.8 billion.
What about Paradise Ridge between Desert Ridge and Scottsdale Road?
Nothing that I'm aware of.
And we do a lot of work with state land development. Yeah.
What do you think the implication is on the toll roads with Estrella Mountain?
So we brokered that deal. That was 19,000 acres, about 211 million. So we brokered that deal. They partnered with Harvard Investments, a local operator, and Varding out of Minneapolis. So we put that trifecta together. And that is just, it's going to free up a bunch of additional inventory in Estrella. Because the previous group, Newland, over here, his relatives, but Newland was somewhat dysfunctional on their ability to deliver inventory in Estrella. One man's opinion, don't quote me.
You might, so Phoenix, the greater Phoenix area is considered like the 5th or the 6th largest city in the country area-wise, is that correct?
So the city of Phoenix is 5 or 6 proper, but the MSA, we're massive. I mean, we're as big as like
I read a
Jersey.
statistic and see if it makes sense. Is it true that there is more undeveloped land that can be developed in our city than land already developed?
In the MSA?
Yeah.
Yes.
Think about that, guys. As big as we are, or as small as we think we are, there's more land that's undeveloped, more undeveloped land that can be developed than land already developed.
Yeah.
You're talking about metropolitan areas?
Yeah, so here's the MSA as we define it is Phoenix and then the surrounding suburbs. We also include North Pinal County. So Coolidge, Florence, Casa Grande, Maricopa. And you have to travel south of the Gila River Nation to get there. But we have builders in escrow in Eloy. Again, the Tartesso model, drive to qualify. They're trying to bring affordable product to the market because it's really a build it and they will come mentality right now. They'll drive. You know, they probably employed in Chandler or Tempe. You know, I can't imagine them being employed up in the Northwest Valley and commuting 2.5 hours a day. But you know, the commute from Maricopa to Chandler is like 20 minutes to the Intel plant. Yep.
It's interesting because we get a chance to be in a relocation company, we get to see this on a national level. You know, we get hyper-focused on our own local market here. When you think of the magnitude of what's going on in the new construction industry, it's happening all across the country. I think we've got about a dozen coming new construction referrals under contract, and it's constantly, every 60 days, they're calling up saying, guys, it's going to be, tell your referring agent, it's going to be another 90 days, it's going to be another 100 days, or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's so crazy to think that how this is expanded throughout the United States of America, supply chain, labor, labor shortages, everything. It's just not happening here, and that's what's so scary.
And not to get political, but it's a shift from blue states to red states. It's a shift, whether you're back east going down to Carolinas or Florida or California. There's some communities that are saying, particularly in the West Valley, that are telling us that 60 or 75% of buyers are California transplants. So the folks are just getting out of what they consider to be less friendly environments. Again, whether it's regulation, whether it's fires. You know, I have a home up in Flagstaff in Forest Highlands. There's one house on the market. There's 800 homes in there. Typically 10% of Forest Highland homes are on the market. And there's one home on the market. I bought my home in 2006 because I'm in real estate, so I bought top of the market. Because that's what we do. That's what we make money, right? My home was not up in Flagstaff. It was not worth what I paid for it until about 24 months ago. Now I probably have 800,000 in equity in it. I'm not gonna sell it. It's just, it's funny how unusual this particular cycle is. And it's a combination of pandemic and the fact that you can work from home, anyone can move where they want and work from their home. And they're choosing Arizona. And they historically have and are continuing to.
In DC Ranch, there are no homes on the market between $1.5 million and $2.5 million. Zero.
Yeah.
We're bringing one on Saturday.
How many offers are you gonna get?
I've bet you it's gonna sell for more than 2.5.
And you're gonna get how many offers?
A lot.
Yeah. All right, Anthony, that's okay.
Yeah, how long until, the water issue catches up?
Great question. Water's gonna get more expensive. Water's gonna get more expensive. So I don't know if you're aware, but all the farms in Coolidge, Florence, Casa Grande area, they got cut off from CAP water. Scottsdale is a heavy CAP water user. There's not a lot of groundwater up here in the Scottsdale area. Fortunately, Phoenix, we have massive underground aquifers. We have the Hacienda Basin out west that we haven't touched. It's the Hacienda River. We were very progressive with our water laws dating back to the 1950s with Rhodes, DeConcini. We got way ahead of the curve. The bottom line is though, there's going to continue to be restrictions on water. Water is going to necessarily get more expensive. We're not going to run out of water. Again, we got an aquifer we haven't touched that's larger than all the aquifers. But how do you deliver it? Water costs a boatload to move. It's heavy. So water will get more expensive. Mark Twain said, water flows downhill gravity and uphill money. So, but it is of concern because it's going to get more expensive, no doubt.
So do you think that would be an implication on the home values long-term master plan communities that are serviced by private water companies, like,
Trilogy.
No, because they have to go through the process to get their certificate of assured water supply. They go through AEWR. There are certain jurisdictions around town that aren't designated provider. You have to go source the wet stuff. You have to go get a paper approval. It's called an analysis of assured water supply, and then source the wet stuff. Like Buckeye, they're not a designated provider, but there's plenty of groundwater out there. But AEWR they're figuring out the new rules right now. So it's harder to get an analysis approved. It's harder to get a certificate approved. But if you own land in the city of Surprise, you're a provider. So like your world, it's sub-market by sub-market. There's just nuances to everything in the land world. So thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. You know, right off the top, this is really funny. I think it's funny. So back in the day, there was this big joke, when Buckeye and Apache Junction were just, it was just a place on the map, and we used to make fun of it. The big joke, I got my license was, Mike, is this your phone? Oh yeah. She wants you to bring some bread up there. The joke was, what's the difference between gonorrhea, syphilis, herpes, and a condo in Apache Junction? And the answer was, you can get rid of the other three. Today, right?
Oh my God!
Well, that was Am I done? You've been licensed a lawyer, am I kidding? That was a joke back then. We made fun of Apache Junction and Buckeye because they were so far out there, and you just didn't want to do business out there. And today, Sharon Page just closed a $1.5 million listing in Buckeye.
Hey, Mike.
So,
Mike, before you leave, thank you very much. That was invaluable information. If we don't all have this part of our listing presentations, guys, wow. Thank you for coming today. That's all.
So let's please introduce our vendors, our business partners.
Oh,
I'm going
gosh.
to ask each one, I'll give you a 30-second commercial, and then we're going to yank you off the stage because we have just so many.
Yeah, you guys, come on
Yeah, so if you
up.
want to line up like we did
Yeah,
last time, and you'll get 30 seconds, and then we're going to.
come on up, guys.
Sharon will need a minute and a half.
I will let you guys come on up.
I know.
All right, guys, go right
Good morning, I'm Rebecca Niesnick with Allstate Insurance, been with Allstate for 25 years. Specialize in homeowners insurance, flood insurance. If you've got people doing VRBO, we have special endorsements to put in our home policies to cover that risk. I have a great staff of 6 licensed agents, so if you need me for anything, my card's over here. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Hey folks, Gary here with Horizon Inspection Service. We do residential, commercial, pool spa, termites, and we offer a very personalized experience for buyers that you guys as agents appreciate as well.
We're coming together. Oh, you're coming together?
We're your home warranty team.
Good morning. Mary Boyan Slakey, Fidelity National Home Warranty.
Tara Carter, Old Republic Home Warranty.
And we like each other.
And we like each other, yes.
Please
buy
home
warranties for
your clients. Please, that's our message.
Good morning, everyone. Sharon Wolf-Hermit with AJF Inspections and Engineering. Just really want to say to all of you, thank you. We really value working with you and your clients, and we are continuing to expand. I think we're up to about 39 employees. We have quite a few additional inspectors from the 23 that are in training. I've lost count. We're doing all of this to better serve you and your clients. Let us know what your needs are, and we're here to help you. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Hi, good morning. I'm Caitlin with the Tobias Group of Fairway. I hope you guys had a great Valentine's Day, fun open, Super Bowl, all that jazz. We're very grateful to work with so many of partners in this room. We absolutely love being a part of RE/MAX Fine Properties. Of course, I do represent 5 incredible, I think the best licensed loan officers in the Valley, but I am not a licensed loan officer. I am here to solely support you guys. As you have your agent concierge coming on, I am that for the Tobias Group. So anything you need to support your business efforts, home marketing, business planning, hands-on events, things along those lines, I'm absolutely happy to assist and be of support whenever I can. So thank you guys.
Colleen Davis, Frank Finelli, we're with eBroker Match Relocation. If you guys have a referral, you're in a listing, and you find out your client's heading to Boise, Idaho, Boise, what's the one I'm looking for? Yeah. Give us a call. We have connections all over the country. We have people calling us from Georgia, placing referrals in California, Florida. Keep us in mind for your referral business. We're basically a transaction coordinator to help you guys get out there, get those buyers out, list those properties, and just hand over your referrals to eBroker Match Relocation.
Sounds great. I want to say one thing about Bethany Jones. That is huge, you guys. She was here when I first joined RE/MAX Fine Properties. Bethany was the agent ambassador. Even though she was in the front desk, she made me feel more welcome than anybody in the company, and so to have her back is amazing. Congrats to you guys.
Jamie brokered that one for us.
That's great job. She's awesome.
Come on, I haven't met her yet. I'm excited.
Oh, by the way, we should announce vendor relations, Beth Jones. That's one of the connects that we made is let's bring her back to our vendors to connect everyone.
Yeah, and we do plan on, getting together quarterly with our vendors too, so that we can also really come up with some really good things for all of you to be our partners, because we're doing nothing but growing. And I didn't mean to take your 30. Go.
No, you're good. Start the clock over.
Well, good morning, everyone. Jen Weller from Fidelity National Title. Sam Jones could not be with us today. We have Troy Peterson. For the next 3 days, we got you covered. So hopefully you don't have plans yet. So tomorrow we have a Zoom CE class on Transaction Desk. So for those of you that have been putting off Transaction Desk and been using Zip Forms, tomorrow 1 to 4 on Zoom, Jimmy Garcia. He's a great instructor.
Yeah, that is contract law. On Thursday, business development, we're going to show you a little trick how to get hyperlocal data and then use that in maybe a postable graphic. So that's Thursday at your business development. And then Friday, speaking to the water issue. We have Gretchen Baumgartner, she's the policy manager for Scottsdale Water at Pinnacle Peak Luxury Home Tour, which is in this room Friday at 8:30. So if you want to learn a little bit more about Scottsdale Water, come Friday at 8:30. I think you need to RSVP through Pinnacle Peak Luxury Home Tour. So thank you.
Thank you. And one of our newest partners, come on up, John.
Hello again. Excuse me, I'm a little taller. So I'm still Jeannie with Valley Building Inspections. I told you a little earlier about what we do. What I'd like to do is take a moment and explain to you why we do it. We believe that we believe in enriching people's lives. We believe that everyone deserves to be physically safe and emotionally secure. And we believe in elevating the inspection experience so you and your clients live well. So we look forward to working with you. I see a lot of familiar faces. Look forward to making some new relationships, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Another tall girl. Good morning, Julie LaRosa with Stewart Title. As most of you know, our Scottsdale branch is located right in the same parking lot with your Scottsdale office. So come over and say hello. Two things I want you to remember. I have the best escrow team in the country. And secondly, if you weren't on the business development Zoom call last week about how to get more listings, reach out to me. Let's get together. We need more listings and I'm here to help you. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Heidi and I'm the videographer for Arizona Brokers Title Agency. Let's be real, video services are expensive. They get very pricey. My rate is only $40 an hour for filming and $20 an hour for editing. You can set up a pre-production meeting with me by going to my link tree on my Instagram. My Instagram handle is AZ Brokers Title Agency Media. And then we'll set up a pre-production meeting and get you booked. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm Jonathan with LHM Financial for all your home lending needs. We are actually located at the Thompson Peak office, right off the building, so we're always available for even like on-site consultations if anyone needs them. But yeah, stop by and say hi if you guys are ever around.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks to all of our partners today. I'm the short woman in the room. A good tall woman, 5'2". So anyhow, and that's probably with the heels on, just saying. But anyhow, our partners, you guys do mean the world to us. Thank you so much for all you do. I can't say it enough. Come visit us in Peoria, come visit us, Chandler. Guys, we want to get you all out and about. If you don't have your rosters, let us know. We will get those for you. And then, Jamie, closing remarks, my dear?
The last for the vendor piece, if you could drop off business cards and brochures so we could distribute them through every office, and then if you could submit your commercials or do your filming, that would be great. We would like to have those up and running in the next week.
Yeah.
Just as a last plug, the water issue in Scottsdale is real and it's a problem. And this Friday, Luxury Home Tour, they're going to talk about, and if you're doing any business in Rio Verde, and where's Kelly, the chief youth, and you have hold water, you have a problem. So if you're not familiar with what's going on there, it's a problem. It comes to an end at the end of this year, and it's a serious problem for those folks, and if you're doing business up there in Rio Verde. So if you need to learn more about it, either call me, come to a class, come to Luxury Home Tour on Friday. So, having said that, guys, have a great week. Thank you very much. Thank you guys at home. Have a great week.